Alrighty, how is everyone doing tonight? It is Tuesday, November the 1st. You can flip the calendar. It is 9 o'clock Central Time here in Lookout at Wassa. My name is Jonathan, which means it is time for PLAR History and Geography. This is week number 9, the last week of this term, term 1A. We're almost done. We're here. This is the last week, which means we have tonight's class and Thursday's night's class, and then we are done for this term. Then we have our midweek, and then we start the fun all over again from the very top, looking at history once again. So that will start in 2 weeks in terms of term 1B. But this is the last week for this term. We have made it. We're almost done. We have one more topic lesson that we need to discuss and to go over. And then that's it. That's it, class. We're done for this term. We have made it. So in the meantime, continue to work on your assignments. Again, the ideal goal is to have everyone finish your assignments, history, geography, all of it by the end of this week or next week, ideally, and then you can write your tests. But again, if you're unable to, that's okay. Just continue where you left off. Okay, you don't need to start all over again where the next term starts. Just continue where you left off. So in the meantime, just continue to work on your assignments. Again, if you're stuck, frustrated, need help, just let me know. Remember, I'm here to help. Okay, I'm one email away, I'm one phone call away, one Facebook message away from helping you. Okay, so I don't know if you need help unless you tell me. Okay, so again, continue to work on assignments. If you need help, you know where to find me. Again, hopefully we'll have some students engaging with us tonight. Again, just call the Wassa Studio from your Learn Center, or you can call in from home. You can also log on to Smart Bridget as well, so you can see everything that we're posting. Again, like I mentioned, you can always get in touch with me at any point, anytime. Give me a call during my office hours, email, Facebook, okay? Again, once you're done your assignment, just submit them to me, okay? Don't wait until you're done everything. Just submit your assignment as soon as you're done one lesson or one assignment. That way I can mark it and give you feedback. Again, you can submit it in numerous ways. Give it to your DC at your Learning Center. They will fax it over to me and I'll take care of the rest. You can always scan it and email it to me, or you can take a picture of it on your phone and then email it to me. There's many ways that you can submit your assignments, okay? Not just one. So again, uh, don't be discouraged. Just continue to work on those assignments. All right. Are there any questions? I don't have any announcement other than the fact that this is the last week of this term. The deadline for term 1B registration is this Friday. So for any non-PLAR students, the deadline for the term 1B is this Friday. Or if you know anyone, friends, family, relatives who wants to register with us here at WASA, again, the deadline is this Friday, I believe, for term 1B. But again, PLAR students, just continue where you left off, okay? And that applies for all PLAR students. Other than that, no announcements. No announcements. I'm not traveling in a time being, so no class conflict with that. So let's get started on our very last topic for geography and this course. And I'll wrap things up and look at latitude and longitude. Okay, latitude and longitude. This begins on page 72 in your textbook. So again, hopefully everyone brought your textbook with you or have it in front of you. And then you can turn to page 72. That's where we will begin for tonight. And you can always follow along in your textbook as well. So basically from page 72, 73, 4, and 5, just talks about latitude and longitude. Okay, it defines what it is. It gives some examples. But what we're going to talk about is the same thing, but I'm just going to organize it in a slightly different fashion. But again, everything's in your textbook on 72, 73, 74, and 75. Okay. So, lesson 5, our last topic, latitude and longitude. So let's get to our learning goals for tonight. Again, your learning goals are your objectives that you hope to achieve, to learn, and to understand by the end of tonight's class. And they always reflect the curriculum expectation as well. So, let's get to our learning goals. Again, I'll always jot these down so everyone can have a visual of your learning goals. Again, always know that we're talking about latitude and longitude, so those are our two main focus for tonight. But in terms of latitude and longitude, by the end of tonight's class, over the next 60 minutes, you will know the difference between the two. Okay, the difference between latitude and longitude. You'll also be able to locate. Okay, you will also be able to locate latitude and longitude on a map. And finally, you'll be able to know how to write latitude and longitude in terms of its units. So these are our main goals for tonight. Again, we'll define what latitude and longitude are, but mainly you'll know the difference between the two. Be able to locate latitude and longitude on a map, and be able to write latitude and longitude units as well. Okay, so these are our learning goals for tonight. So begin tonight with the hook. I'm gonna pose a question. Okay, I'm gonna pose a question. The question is how to find the exact location of a specific or particular location. How do you find about the exact location of anything? Okay, think about that for a second. Okay, how do you find exact location of any specific or particular location? Okay, we know that our Earth is massive and big with many continents, countries, bodies of water, many communities, and so forth. Okay, so our planet is massive. Okay, again, we have many continents, countries, cities, communities, different areas, regions, uh, but it's really hard to pinpoint down a particular location. So again, going back to that question that I posed, okay, so how do we locate a particular or specific location on Earth, or the exact location on Earth? Okay, so what if you wanted to tell your friend the exact location of Sioux Lookout, Ontario? Okay, so myself, I'm from Southern Ontario in Brampton, Ontario. Uh, a lot of my friends don't know where Sioux Lookout is, and every time I try to describe it to them, they really have a hard sense of getting where Sioux Lookout is. They just know that I'm located somewhere northwest of Thunder Bay, somewhere. Okay, so again, we all know that Sioux Lookout is like halfway between Winnipeg and Thunder Bay. It's about a 4-hour drive west and north of Thunder Bay. But where is it exactly? Okay, it can be described as north of Dryden. But what is the exact location of Sioux Lookout? Okay, but we want to find the exact location of any place for that matter, particular or specific location on Earth. How do we do that? Okay, so think about it for a second. Think about it. What can we use? What can we do? So we need a system. Okay, we need a system. A system that is in a way related and similar to math. Okay, so for tonight's class, we're in a way integrating math. Okay, the other subject or integrated in tonight's class. Again, this is PLAR history, geography, the social study components, but for tonight's class, we're integrating some prior math knowledge as well. That would definitely help us in the long run. So we need a system that's similar and related to math, and that system is with coordinates. Okay, a system with coordinates. So hopefully everyone has seen this before, a grid with coordinates. Again, think back to math, for example, or you have a chart or chart paper. Okay, has everyone seen chart paper? It's basically different units or boxes together. Okay, so chart paper or a grid. Okay, but we need a grid with coordinates. Okay, so in relation to math, this can be known as the y-axis and the x-axis. Okay, so hopefully we can uh, open up our prior knowledge that we have learned in math, uh, any kind of math in the past or currently. We will apply those kind of knowledge in terms of tonight's class. Okay, so again, a grid, it has lines, vertical and horizontal line, up and down. Uh, just Google grid with coordinates or chart paper, and that's our system that we're going to apply in tonight's class. Okay, this is what we're using. Okay, these coordinates on this grid will help us to pinpoint down the exact location of a particular place on a map or on the globe. So on my screen, I have a globe that is circling. Again, we know that our globe, that our Earth, okay, so a globe is not two-dimensional, it's 3D, it is in the shape of a sphere, okay? So hopefully everyone has seen what a globe looks like. Hopefully, unfortunately, I can't have a physical globe in front of me. Even if I do, no one can see it. So I did my best to post a 3D object of a globe onto my screen. So again, this is our planet. We live on this planet called the Earth. Again, it is not flat. Okay, it is in a globe. It's in a sphere shape, a 3D object shape. Okay, so again, note that it's massive, lots of water, lots of different countries, continents. But again, it's really hard to pinpoint down one exact specific location. So what do we do? Again, we need that grid. So if we were to take our globe and unravel it so that it's flat, we'll have something like this. Okay, so on my screen you have a map of the Earth with many different continents with a grid on it. Okay, so again, if we were to unravel that sphere, that globe, that looks so that it was flat, it would look something like this. And if we were to apply our grid, it would look something like this. Again, horizontal and vertical lines across the image. Okay, so this grid will help us to, again, like I said, to identify the exact location of a particular place. Again, note that this grid has different numbers. These numbers are called degrees. Uh, it goes positive and negative depending on which direction we go. Again, we'll talk more about that very, very shortly. Okay, so again, we need a map and a grid. Okay, but to break that down even further, we need to know our directions. Okay, sense of directions. Hopefully, everyone knows our direction. If you don't, that's okay. We'll learn it right now. There's many apps on it, like a compass. You can get it on your phone. But again, directions. Okay, we're using the four cardinal directions. Okay, is what I mean by directions. Okay, so the four cardinal directions. Does everyone know what they are? I do have it on my screen. Okay, the four cardinal directions. Okay, they are simply start from the top and going clockwise. Okay, north, east, south, west. Okay, north, east, south, west. So right now, I'm looking at my screen. I'm technically facing west. That's my direction. I'm facing the west. But again, what we need to know are our directions. Where is north, where is east, south, and west. Okay, so basically any map, anything that's pointing upwards is north. And then on the right hand side is east, at the bottom is south, and on your left hand side is west. Okay, in terms of looking at a map, not physically where you are, but when looking at a map. Okay, again, if you're having trouble remembering your directions, again, there is an acronym. Okay, if you're having a hard time remember where's north, east, south, and west, there's an acronym that I have learned way back in the day, and it is never eat shredded wheat. Okay, there are probably so many more acronyms out there, like never eat soggy wheats, and so forth. But what I like to remember as is never eat shredded wheats. Okay, again, starting from the top, going clockwise, never eat shredded wheats. North, east, south, west. Okay, we don't need to know for this case the more depth, like northeast and southwest. We just need to know northeast, southwest. Okay, so north pointing up, right is the east, the bottom is south, and on your left should be west. Okay, in terms of looking at a map. But we need to focus on north-south lines and east-west lines. So in other words, horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, horizontal and vertical lines is what we need to focus on. Okay, so northeast, southwest. All right, this is very important because we need to know our directions when looking at latitude and longitude. Very, very important. Okay. Are there any questions so far, class, in terms of our directions or what we need to know? Awesome. Good stuff. So before we define latitude and longitude, we're going to define two key terms, okay? Two key terms, and these are like your starting block, okay? And these are the equator and the prime meridian, okay? The equator and the prime meridian, okay? Just fancy names, the equator and the prime meridian. Again, these are key terms that will help us in terms of a starting block for latitude and longitude. Okay, so let's look at equator first, and then we'll look at the prime meridian. So the equator is an imaginary line that circles the middle of the Earth. Again, hopefully you can see my screen. This red line that is horizontal, okay, horizontal, is the equator. Can anyone tell me what's significant that you notice about the equator? If you have noticed that it is right in the middle of the Earth, you're correct. Okay, so this is the equator. Okay, very middle horizontal line that goes across the Earth is known as the equator. Okay, horizontal across. Okay, very middle. Okay, what's significant about the equator is that as you approach the equator, it gets warmer and warmer. As you get farther away from the equator, it gets colder and colder. Okay, we're not going to go into uh, the details about that and why that is, because we don't have time. But what we need to know is that where is the equator? It is this red line. It's an imaginary red line. It's not physically there. It's just across the middle in a horizontal of our Earth. Okay, so that is the equator. Okay, questions on that? Hopefully no one's confused so far. If you are, just let me know. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the prime meridian. If this is the equator, what do you think the prime meridian is? Think opposite of the equator. Okay, think opposite of the equator. So again, the prime meridian is also an imaginary line that goes up and down the Earth and the globe, but it is done so in a vertical line. Okay, vertical. Okay, vertical means up and down, not left and right or side to side. So again, it's this right here and this right here. Again, just like the equator is not physically there, it's just an imaginary line. It just divides right down the middle uh, on the globe in a vertical fashion. Okay, so it's similar to like your y-axis and your x-axis. Okay, the prime meridian can be your y-axis, and the equator can be your x-axis. Okay, if we're integrating math. Okay, hopefully that example helps clarify and understand what the prime meridian and the equator are. Okay, so again, equator, think about the x-axis when looking at math. Okay, so again, horizontal in the middle, and the prime meridian is your y-axis when looking at math. Okay, so hopefully those two examples will clarify it. Okay, so that's the equator, and that is the prime meridian. Questions on the equator and prime meridian? Again, just note that they're imaginary line right down the middle, horizontally and vertically on the map. That's all they are. Okay, don't get too confused. Just vertical middle line right down in the middle of the earth. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the main events for tonight's class, which is latitude and longitude. Okay, pretty straightforward, but it can be confusing. Confusing in the sense that students get confused in terms of which is which. They know what they are, but they have a hard time remembering which is which. So hopefully we'll clear that up in terms of any misconceptions. But we're going to define latitude and longitude, which is our main event for tonight. Okay, so let's first look at latitude. What is latitude lines? Okay, again, all of these lines that we're talking about are imaginary. Okay, so latitude lines are lines that run east and west, or left and right. Okay, so lines that go from left to right, so vice versa, or east to west. So in other words, lines that looks like this. So what I'm drawing on my screen are one horizontal line. Okay, so any horizontal line you see on a map with our grid are latitude lines. Okay, they are parallel lines, which means that they have the same distance apart. Okay, parallel lines, which means that they are exactly the same distance apart. Okay, so again, think of math when looking at angles and whatnot. Uh, Parallel lines that have the same distance apart. So the purpose of latitude lines, they are used to measure the distance north or south of the equator. Okay, so go back to the equator. Again, we know that equator is an imaginary line in the middle horizontally. Okay, so latitude lines are used to measure how far you are either north or south of the equator. Okay, so if you're going closer to the North Pole or to the top of the globe, you're moving north of the equator in terms of the latitudes, and vice versa, you're going South Pole. Okay, so again, how I like to remember latitude, think of lat for flat. Okay, lat for flat. Any flat lines you see on a map with a grid are latitude. Okay, flat, lat for flat. Any flat lines. Okay, okay, they are horizontal. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. They're horizontal. They go from left to right, right to left, east to west, west to east. Okay, they're same distance apart. Latitude lines. Okay, lat for flat. Any flat lines. Okay, lat for flat. So think of a ladder. The steps of the ladder can be symbolized in relation to latitude because they're flat. Okay, flat horizontal. Okay, horizontal lines are latitude. Okay, so these are latitudes. Questions? Confusions? Okay, hopefully I haven't confused anyone, and hopefully you're all on still page with me. Okay, do have pictures. Oh, there we go, pictures of latitude. Okay, so again, any flat lines, horizontal lines are latitude. Okay, so these lines. So note that anything below the equator, we're looking at south. Okay, going back to our directions. And anything north or above the equator, we're going north. Okay, this is why our directions comes in handy. Again, anything above the equator is north, and anything below the equator is south. Again, anything that's flat. Okay, again, note the units in degrees. It's N for north and S for south if we're below the equator. Okay, the equator, again, a middle line across the globe horizontally. Okay, cannot stress that enough. Cannot stress that enough. Okay, so again, flat for flat, think of steps on a ladder. Again, these lines are parallel, which means that they are the same distance apart. Again, these are not real lines, they're just imaginary line that helps us to locate our specific location or quadrants an area is in. So for example, here in Canada, we are located above the equator, which means that we are north of the equator. Okay, so Canada, in terms of units, in latitude units, we are north. Okay, awesome. Which means quite easily the opposite of latitude is longitude. Okay, so let's get to longitude. Quite some difference, but a longitude are not parallel lines, which means that they are not the same distance apart. Okay, note that. Pretty significant difference right there. Longitude lines are, you have guessed it, you're correct, vertical lines. So any vertical lines in that direction at least are longitude lines, okay? They are used to measure how far you are east or west from the prime meridian. Okay, so longitude lines, they start at the pole. Okay, they start at the North Pole and they meet from the bottom. Okay, North Pole and South Pole. So they start from the top and they go all the way across from the middle. Okay, they're not the same distance apart, but they just start at the poles. Okay, again, they can be classified as vertical lines if that helps understand. Okay, not the same distance apart, but they're used to measure how far you are east or west. Okay, so going back to our illustration of the ladder, think of the leg of the ladder. Okay, okay, these are can be example of longitude lines. Okay, longitude lines. Lines that goes north and south, vertical lines, but they are used to measure the distance east or west of the prime meridian. They start at the poles, or they meet at the poles. Okay, North Pole and South Pole, which are the very top and bottom of our globe. Okay, longitude. Questions on that? Again, more pictures on latitude. Okay, again, note that they start at the North Pole or the South Pole, they go all the way across. Okay, so again, the prime meridian is this middle line, and this part is right here. So again, anything left is west, and anything right is east. Again, going back to our knowledge of directions. Again, east and west, okay, of the prime meridian. Again, vertical and vertical. Alrighty. So those are the definitions of longitude and latitude. We have defined what they are, and hopefully we can distinguish the difference between the two. Okay, the simply in a way it's the opposite. Okay, of latitude and longitude. Hopefully I have made that clear and gave some good examples. Again, if you're still unsure, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to explain it a different way and to clarify so that you are no longer confused. So to review what we just talked about in the last 10 minutes or so, um, latitude and longitude. Again, don't be confused of which is which. Okay, it's important that we know which is which because it's really, really important. So again, the equator. Okay, the equator is the horizontal line that go across the globe. Again, these are imaginary lines. All these lines are imaginary. That goes across horizontally across the middle of the earth. And we use latitude to measure how far you are north or south of the equator. So if you're going above the equator, we're going north. And if we're going below the equator, we're going south. So these are latitude. Okay, latitude. Hence, know the relation between equator and latitude goes together. On the other hand, we have longitude. Longitude. Again, the prime meridian is in the middle of the map of the globe. It is in a vertical line, okay, right down the middle. Again, imaginary line right down the middle. They start at the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole, and they meet. Okay, and longitude lines are used to measure how far you are either east or west from the prime meridian, whether you're going left or right away from the prime meridian. These are longitude lines, okay? They're not the same distance, but they start at the poles. Whereas latitude lines, they are parallel and are the same distance apart, okay? So again, more pictures on my screen. Hopefully, you'll see it. Again, flat for flat, any flat lines, latitude, and any vertical line-ish, longitude, okay? Questions? Awesome. Good stuff. So now we know the difference between the two and which is which. Okay. So now we are able to locate and write latitudes. Okay, that's our next step. Okay. First step is knowing the knowledge. Now we're going to use that knowledge. So again, going back to what we started, we have a map. Again, a map that's unraveled and flattened out. Looks something like this. On the screen, you have different continents. You'll see a grid with different numbers and lines, latitude and longitude lines. It also has the equator and the prime meridian. They always do. Note that the equator and the prime meridian start at 0. Okay, these are your starting point, 0. Okay, and as you move farther away, the value in terms of degrees increases. And you go all the way up into, what's the max number you see on the screen? 180. So it goes up to 180. Okay. Doesn't go any higher than that. So again, these are our values. Okay. Again, we got north, we got east, we got south, and we got west. Again, going back into our directions. Again, note that in terms of N is north, E for east, see at the bottom right here, east, west, which is W, and S is south. Okay, you'll also see like positive and negative, but I don't like to use that because it kind of confuses students. So again, we're going back to our knowledge of directions, north, east, south, west. Never eat shredded wheats. So again, note that our starting point are 0. Again, the equator. Again, I'll put it in green. That's not green. Alright, so I'll put it in green. That's the equator. And the prime meridian is right here too. Okay, so these are our starting point. Again, using our direction. Okay, so again, it's like math with the y-axis and the x-axis. We have different coordinates. East, west, left, right, up, down. Okay, so you can look at this whole thing right here. Okay, as north. And you can look at it as south at the bottom. Then we got east. And we got west. Okay. Again, hopefully that clears things up a little bit. So, now we're going to learn how to write. Okay. So with our knowledge, we'll be able to articulate latitude and longitude. This is on page 77 in your textbook. Okay. On page 77 tells you how to write latitude and longitude in terms of its degrees and units in its direction, and what goes first, what goes last. The order is significant. If you flip-flop the two, you will not get full marks because, again, proper form is required. Again, latitude goes first, followed by longitude. Again, note that what I have written in brackets. So you have latitude goes first, followed by the longitude units. Okay, so you have the number and the unit and the direction goes in that order. Okay, so again, number in degrees and then the direction north to east. Then number in degrees again goes east west. Okay, we know that latitude correspond to north and south, and longitude correspond to east and west. Okay, so again, that's like a little clue, a little hint in terms of what goes first. Okay, northwest goes first, followed by east-west. Okay, if you flip-flop the two, again, we are incorrect in that form. Okay, again, on the very top of page 77, it says, note how longitude and latitude determine location on the map. Remember that latitude is always bolded and underlined written first, signifying north or south location, followed by longitude, written by its indication as east and west. Okay. So I have found this map of Ontario, our beautiful province of ours. And what's awesome about this one is that it has northwestern Ontario cities, towns on it. Again, it has Moose Factory, it has Thunder Bay, and it has Dryden. Okay. It also has Toronto, Sarnia, and on Ottawa, but we're gonna focus on northern communities because it relates to us, close to us. It doesn't have Sioux Lookout. You can imaginary Sioux Lookout's on there, but we're gonna look at Dryden, okay, which is very close to Sioux Lookout, which is just down the road from us. So how do we write latitude and longitude? So hopefully this example will clarify all that up. So what we have just learned is that we need to use latitude and longitude, okay, in that order, latitude and longitude, okay. So let's look at latitude lines, okay. Going back to what we just talked about 15-20 minutes just now, right now, we're gonna look at latitude lines. Again, latitude lines are any flat lines, okay. Look at all those flat lines you see on the screen, okay. I'm gonna highlight them in green, okay. So it could be this line, any flat lines. Look at Dryden, that points, and note where is it located on in terms of latitude, but in terms of degree and in its direction. We know that it's north, okay, that's given to us. It falls between 51 north and 48 north, okay. So we're going to estimate for this one, since I don't have the exact value, but it's definitely not 51, it's definitely not 48. It has to be in between in a way. It's not 57 or 59, but it could be around 50. Okay, I'm gonna call this 50 degrees north, just to estimate, as an example. Okay, so we write our latitude units degree first. Okay, then we put a comma, and now we're gonna need to look at our longitude lines. Okay, what do you know about longitude lines? Remember, they are any vertical lines. Okay, any vertical lines, right, class? So I'm gonna highlight any vertical lines in red. Okay, this map is awesome because it has units and directions located on it. So any vertical line that goes up and down, these are longitude lines. So again, look at Dryden, look at that little dots, and lucky for us, it falls on exact longitude lines. So again, look at the degrees at the very top. We know it's west because it's indicated as west. But which number is it? Can anyone see it? 93? Yes, you're correct. So in terms of write-in degrees, write-in is, again, if you want to tell a friend the exact location, looking at a map, you could be like, oh, Dryden, Ontario, which is just down the road from Silgo, it is 50 degrees north, give or take, and 90 degrees west, give or take. Then your friend can go to a map or atlas, and they can look at these points, at these coordinates. They'll be like, okay, 50 degrees north, it is right here, and 93 degrees west, it's right here. Oh, there's Dryden. Okay, that's where it's located. It's give or take, which means that Lookout is roughly in the same general area. Okay, note that on the same map, you see that Thunder Bay, it's lower, it's below Dryden. It's closer to probably 49 degrees, give or take, or 48 point something degrees north. Okay, again, this helps us to locate the exact location of a particular place. Again, where I'm from is that I'm from near Toronto, which means that I am below 45 degrees north, but above 42 degrees north, give or take. Okay, so hopefully that helps us locate and to write latitude and longitudes. Again, latitude comes first, followed by longitude. Okay, latitude comes first, followed by longitude. Again, this page right here is on page 77 in your textbook. Again, it says, remember, latitude is always written first, signifying a north or south direction, followed by longitude, which indicates east or west. Okay, so again, remember, we always write the units in north or south first, which is latitude, followed by east or west in terms of longitude, in that order. Okay, some more example. Again, examples are given in your textbook. We'll go over one right now, then we'll move on. Okay, so let's pick our particular points on a map. We have X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z. Flip a coin, rock, paper, scissors, and pick one. Okay, pick one. X, Y, and Z. Let's pick Z. Why? Because why not? It's in the middle of nowhere on this map. So we're going to look at Z, which is right here. The letter Z. Okay, we're going to write the latitude and longitude units of Z right now. Okay, so I'm going to give the class a few moments to do this on their own, to practice, and then we'll do it together right now. Okay, so again, look at it. Look at the flat line first, and look at the vertical lines. Okay, what can anyone tell me about Z in terms of the latitude lines? Okay, where is it located? Yes, it is below the equator, which means that it is south, yes. And is on which line? 30 degrees south. Perfect, good. Okay, again, right here, 30 degrees south. And then we need to look at the longitude line, which is the vertical lines. In this case, it is west of the prime meridian, and on this case, it is 30 degrees west, right here. Okay, note how that they cross right here. Boom. So that is the letter Z. Okay, makes sense? Yeah, note that we wrote the units in south first, followed by east or west. Okay, northeast, north, south, east-west. Again, take your time, no need to rush, make sure we're doing it correct. Okay. Again, always write the direction as well. Okay. Let's do one more example. Let's do one more example. Let's look at the letter X, which is located north of Africa. Again, look at the flat lines, which tells us latitude. In this case, it is north of the equator, which helps us. In this case, it's on this line, which is 30 degrees north. And which line is it in terms of latitude? 30 degrees east. Okay, can anyone see that? So we got 30 degrees north and 30 degrees east. Okay. Questions on that? Again, this example is super straightforward because all the lines connect. This is not always the case. Again, it can get really complicated in terms of decimals and points and all that, but in terms of your assignments, what was given is not, it won't be that difficult. It should be easy to see. So, turning to our workbook, and your last assignment, you need this map right here. Okay, this map right here gives you all the answers. Okay, you need to use this map. If you don't use this map, you won't be able to find the answer. So in terms of assignment 16, okay, this is your last and final assignment for this course, for this section. Okay, for geography. 13 marks. It is, in a way, a different assessment strategy. It is multiple choice, which is slightly different. Some variety and some difference in change of scenery. And then we have some fill in the blank. Again, different assessment strategy and tools that we're using. Okay, so no need to write anything. Just fill in the blank and multiple choice. Okay. So again, all these questions, in terms of multiple choice, you are to pick the correct answer and put it in a box. Read the statement, pick the correct answer. Fill in the blank, again, read the statement and fill in the blank. Okay. Again, most of this you need this map. Okay, this map right here. Okay. All right, that was a lot to soak in. I think we're gonna stop it here for tonight. Let everyone soak that in. Okay. We'll work on a bit of assignment 16. Okay, these multiple choice and these fill in the blanks. Next class on Thursday together. So again, bring your workbook, bring assignment 16. We'll do some of these questions together, or you can go ahead and do them. And if you have any questions, you can ask then. And then we'll wrap things up on Thursday, where I'll give the class some examples of what to expect when you're writing your tests and exam. Okay, pretty straightforward. I don't need to stress out about it. I'll talk more about it next class on Thursday. But again, that's pretty much it in terms of content-wise. We'll wrap everything up next class on Thursday. We'll work on assignment 16 together in class. Again, I'll hope to give some in-class time to work on any outstanding assignments. Again, if you need help, just let me know. I'll be happy to help. And then I'll give some hints and some clues as to what you can expect when you're writing your test or your exam. Okay, that is what's important. Okay. Are there any questions? Again, latitude and longitude, pretty straightforward, but it can be confusing. So hopefully I'll let that sink in and soak in for a bit. And we'll retouch it next class again. Work on a 16. And then we'll wrap things up. And then we're all finished. We're all done. PLAR, history, and geography. Okay? Again, work on your assignments. Have any questions, difficulties, you know where to find me. Okay? Have a good night. And I'll see everyone on Thursday. Thank you.